Boom, shagalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards, the Maître D of Chaos, the most incendiary radio host in all of America. That's right. I just go ahead and plant my flag right here and say all of America, at least on the FM dial. I don't know if I'll ever be able to quite one-up the old salty cracker on the internet. But outside of salty, I think I wear the crown, and oh, how heavy it is of being the most incendiary host on the FM dial. Thank you for tuning in this morning. Thank you to Chip Matthews and the Chip Matthews Experience there, being live and local lead-in. I hit some of the topics I plan on hitting this morning. Chip's going to be filling in for the foreseeable future from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Him and Taylor Turcotte, or whoever else he'll have in here with him. And he's still doing his 9 to 10 show for right now. We'll see how it all shakes out. But looks like Mr. Matthews, that's Chip's alter ego for those that have known him for a long time. Mr. Matthews will be a more full-time employee around here. Whatever you want to call it. We're not technically employees, but you know what I mean. If you enjoy Chip, you're going to be hearing a lot more of him. If you don't, you're going to be hearing a lot more of him. All right. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. I figured I would just say the foes in Jackson so people can make sure they get the number right. What is it for you speak of? I say foe. So foe it is. 769-214-1944. Every now and then you gotta speak in the native language, the native tongue, so people understand. So that's the Guns and Gear text line. The phone line, 601-879-0002. I was at the pet store yesterday getting some dog food, and they asked me my phone number. And I was giving it to them from my rewards program. And it was in that moment where I realized that I never actually say zero in real life. I do it on the radio sometimes, but I say O. So like, for example, the studio number is 601-879. See, I just did it 601-879-0002. See, I would never say 0002. Anyway, the right stuff. I would say 0002. So I guess like if it's just 10, I'll say O, but if it's multiple zeros, I say 000. Does anybody else do anything weird like that? Or am I just a singular weirdo here that overthinks it and for some reason replaces numbers with letters in my phone number? Trying to tell that without using my real cell phone number was difficult, by the way. I really wanted to just spit my phone number out, but I was like, wait, the studio number suffices. It's got the zeros or O's in it, depending upon your perspective. So I hope everybody's having a good morning out there. I would like to hear from some folks today because I've got a real question of the day here. I didn't get to talk yesterday a whole lot about the parade. You know, we did that opening segment. We broke some news that every media outlet in this town then followed up on, and failed to even give your boy a shout out. Now, when I use their content, especially on this radio show, I always say from WLBT, from Jackson Jambalaya, from WAPT, from wherever. Magnolia Tribune, Dark Horse Press. But now, when your boy breaks a story, not ever do I see as first reported on the Clay Edwards Show. But y'all know. Y'all know where you heard it first. We don't need the little accolades. We don't need the little rewards, whatever. You know where you got it first. That's why you tuned back in this morning. And I ain't one to necessarily pat myself on the back. Yes, I am. Hey, look, you need to be your biggest fan. Now, there's a way that you can be, slightly humble about it. And there's a way you can be a prick about it. But there is nothing wrong with being confident. See, being confident. Confident is a good thing. Young men out there riding in the cars this morning with your parents or on your way to school or college or wherever, don't let people tell you that being confident is being arrogant. Let me tell you something. Confidence is going to get you way further in life than about 90% of this other crap they're going to teach you in school today. I'm a high school dropout, baby. I've done pretty well for myself. I'd be way further along if it went for some self-inflicted speed bumps along the way. But look, baby, those would have happened with or without a high school or college degree, because I have to learn things the hard way. The hard way. Be confident. But really don't be fake confident, because, see, people know when you're faking it. Be real confident. Work out a little bit. Make sure you're looking your best. Look good, feel good, play good. The pay is good. Deion Sanders. And I promise you'll get further along in life, then that trait will get you further along than just about anything else you can do. I realize how many young men we have listening to this show, and women for that matter. Shout out to the young folks. I'm blown away every time we go out in public, and younger college age, even some high school age people tell me they don't only follow me on Instagram or TikTok, they listen to this radio show. Advertisers out there. That 18 to 35 is strong. That demo is strong with the Clay Edwards Show, and I got the numbers to back it up. Again, don't let my truth telling be confused as being controversial. Lying is controversial, and one thing we don't do on this show is lie. So if you're interested in advertising, clay@wyab.com, clay@wyab.com. But yeah, look, man, confidence will get you a long way. Girls, let's talk the language of love here for a second. We got a lot of political stuff we're going to get into today. Your boy did show prep last night, so we're not going to just come here and shoot from the hip all day. This is my opening monologue. This is my chance to go free for all here. Guys, the more confident you are, the more she's going to like you. And she can be a multitude of women. They like confident men. You know who doesn't like confident men? Democrat women. Democrat women hate confident men, but most of them are butt ugly anyway. Don't get me wrong. There's a few out there who just haven't seen the light, who ain't had the right man throw it down. That's all I can say on radio. Just saying they just ain't come across the right one. But conservative women love a confident man. Democrat women don't, because they want a little cuckold. Somebody they can control around, put on a leash, literally. You don't want that in your life. Never bend on what you know you deserve. Anyway, be confident, my friends. Be confident. Hey, look, have y'all seen my girlfriend? Ain't no reason, for all intents and purposes, she should be having anything to do with me. I mean, what is that Zach Bryan song? Oklahoma Smoke Show? Mississippi Smoke Show. But she likes that confidence, dog. She likes that confidence. That old man swag. That old man swag. Anyway, let me stop. Man, look, real quick, yesterday's show with Holly Jeffrey. That was great. The feedback those reels have been getting online from people talking about sexual abuse. Holly really hit a nerve in a good way with a bunch of people who have been sexually abused and been keeping it in. I had girls that I personally know reach out to me. I had people in the comments that I don't know thanking me for sharing that and having that conversation, or thanking Holly for having that conversation, me for hosting it. Fellas, moms, dads, if you got a young daughter, find yesterday's show on whatever podcasting platform, video streaming platform, wherever. I'll send it to you if you can't find it. Let them listen to it. Now, it gets a little, intense. Parental advisory recommended, because we're talking about some touchy stuff there. But Holly is an expert at pointing out things to look for with potential sexual predators, what young girls need to try to do better so they're not preyed upon. And these are about people you know. You know what I mean? People that try to wield influence over them, teaching them how to be more assertive and saying no. And anyway, I just think it's something very valuable that you should have your young daughters go back and listen to. And frankly, have your sons go back and listen to it as well, so they understand. No meaning no. I mean, look, we're all young guys. I mean, I know as a young guy, hopped up on testosterone and alcohol and everything else. I mean, if it wasn't a hard no, it was so you're telling me there's a chance. Hindsight's 20/20. As you get a little older and you realize that that's not a good thing to do, obviously. Some people just aren't assertive enough in the way they say no. But I thought it was a great show, and I think that a lot can be learned from it. And those shows like that, they're the reason I do this show, is to truly have to try to get stuff out there that I think you guys can benefit from one way or another. This other stuff is just fun, talking about Jackson and keeping the Democrats keeping all their hair on fire, keeping them talking about me online, other little wannabe content creators calling me racist. I mean, I just do that for sport. And just because I don't like them. So I mean, again, I don't care what they call me. They've been trying to make me go away since the first time I posted a picture of the Metro Center. I was telling Fred Shanks yesterday, it's so crazy how all this got started. I decided that I was going to find something to watch on YouTube. I had never watched YouTube before unless somebody sent me, except for like music videos. I had never gone down any YouTube rabbit holes other than music. But I was bored at work one day when I was at Watkins over there at the old East Ford. And I was like, man, I'm going to watch something on YouTube. I'm going to figure out how to do something. I don't have a clue what. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I just got on YouTube and I somehow drifted towards cooking and urban exploration. So I started a cooking channel and an urban exploration channel named Save Jackson. But it all started because I was looking across the street at that Metro Center. I was watching those urban exploration videos, and I was like, and it would inevitably turned into the dead mall videos. I'm like, well, look right across the street there at the biggest dead mall in the South. Let me go over there and take some pictures. And the rest, as they say, is history. Just like this segment. We'll be right back. We're going to dive into, I want to start on a national tip. I want to start something on the national. The blue-hairs lost their minds yesterday. Oh, my God. Trump's cabinet members texted a liberal journalist war plans. And they took the bait, hook, line, and sinker. Trump and them hoaxed the media, and it is oh so glorious. But they're not going to tell you that part, are they? Is WLBT going to send out a memo today? Is WJTV going to send out a push notification today with the follow-up that it was a hoax like they did yesterday when they thought it made Trump look bad? Probably not. If I had to bet $100, I'd say no. But the Clay Edwards Show is going to. We'll be right back right here on WYAB. We're streaming live in 4K, a stunning 4K, on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble at SaveJXN. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at Huey Magoo's, the filet mignon of chicken strips. Huey Magoo's, as previously mentioned, the filet mignon of chicken. They served up, repeated the same thing twice here in my sentence. I apologize. At Huey Magoo's, they are the filet mignon of chicken. They serve up the only the top 3% of premium chicken tenderloins at Huey Magoo's. The handcrafted tenderloins are marinated for 24 hours and cooked to perfection and you and your family will taste the difference. Huey Magoo's, it ain't your ordinary chicken joint. No, sir, not your ordinary chicken tender restaurant at all. Huey Magoo's also has wraps, sandwiches, salads, and meals. You hungry yet? You know you are. Visit Huey Magoo's today, Bass Pro Drive in Pearl or Lakeland Drive in Flowood. Huey Magoo's, the filet mignon of chicken. I had it twice last week, guys. The fried chicken strips are good. You can get them rolled in whatever kind of sauce you want. But I just tend to lean towards the grilled. Man, it's good. So juicy and marinated. Really wish I could cook white meat chicken that good, but I can't do it. I have to cook dark meat because I always overcook chicken because I'm worried to death about undercooking it. Anyway, check them out. Tell them I sent you. All right, so if you were following yesterday, if you were following the show yesterday, I'm sorry, not the show, the news yesterday, you know that a story came out where it was something to the extent of Trump cabinet members leak war plans to journalists from the Atlantic. And they're talking about the Yemen, bombing the Houthis in Yemen and all that stuff. And look, I'm not going to bore y'all to death with the details. Other shows will do that. What I want to point out is, if you think for 1 second that the Trump administration was literally 2 hours before they took, 2 hours before they, why can't I get this word out of my mouth? 2 hours before they executed their plans against the Houthis in Yemen, if you think they were having a moral debate in a signal chat, you're as stupid as you look. If you think that that's how things are done, with the vice president, the secretary of defense, Marco Rubio, secretary of state, going back and forth, that was all scripted. It was 100% scripted. And it was a hoax. It was a gotcha. Here's Pete Hegseth's response here. I think this is great. Bear with me 1 second. I can't get stuff queued up during the break, so it takes me just a second to do it when we get back live. I know it sucks. It is what it is. It's the Clay Edwards Show. Would y'all expect anything different when it comes to technical issues? Of course you wouldn't. I have trained y'all. I have groomed y'all to understand that this show is built on technical difficulties. Every now and then, I'm just like, I really should just rename the show Technical Difficulties. I'm almost there. One thing. All right, there we go. I don't know why, but the background on my live stream defaults to the most rainbow-esque background for no reason. It's black. Black background works fine. Anyway, this is Pete Hegseth on the matter. This is from Fox News. See, there I am giving credit to the source.
Can you share how your information about war plans against the Houthis in Yemen was shared with a journalist in the Atlantic? And were those details classified?
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does. I would love to comment on the Houthi campaign because of the skill and courage of our troops. I've monitored it very closely from the beginning. And you see, we've been managing 4 years of deferred maintenance under the Trump administration. Our troops, our sailors were getting shot at as targets. Our ships couldn't sail through. And when they did shoot back, it was purely defensively or at shacks in Yemen. President Trump said, no more. We will reestablish deterrence. We will open freedom of navigation, and we will ultimately decimate the Houthis, which is exactly what we're doing as we speak from the beginning, overwhelmingly.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that.
Right,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's it. The NSC said it was on.
So as I'm playing this, the Daily Beast, very far left-wing outlet, but they do some good reporting here and there. They send out a notification that's, and of course they're trying to polish the turd now. The liberal media's coming to the liberal media's defense. It says why Signal leak shambles isn't even Trump's F-wit's worst foreign policy move so far. And there was another one that says that the Atlantic, where's that? Yeah, Atlantic editor slaps down Pete Hegseth war plan denial as a lie. Let's see if I can just read the opening. Let's see here.
I want to start by getting your reaction to what...
Y'all bear with me 1 second. I want to try to find this video on X real quick because this is the it just popped up on my phone from a notification, but I can't plug my phone into this computer. Let's see here. What's his name? Pete Goldberg. Atlantic journalist on CNN. I want to play his response. All right. When you try to do this in live time, it doesn't give you much room for error here. But here's what we do have, is we have CNN debating this issue with Scott Jennings on the Atlantic story. So this should be just about as good. So let's cue this up here. Here we go.
On this truly shocking claim in this new Atlantic article that Trump said he needed the kind of generals Hitler had, even though the Trump campaign denied this, two sources in the room confirmed it to the Atlantic magazine. What's your reaction to what?
Sorry, that's old. All right. Yeah, I guess I should have looked at the year there. That was from last October. Anyway, moving along. The media's hair is on fire about a nothing sandwich. Further proving that the media are a bunch of idiots. And they got baited right in. I love it. I mean, see, if you look at this objectively and take your Trump derangement glasses off, you know as well as I know that these people are not debating war plans behind the president's back, mind you. These are loyal generals, like the kind Hitler had. As the video just said, they would never go around Trump's back and do such a thing. Have some respect. Put some respect on their names. Say their names. All right. Anywho, when we come back, we're going to dive into either the St. Patrick's Day chaos, the fallout, and the mayor blaming Capitol Police. And we also have a fake hate crime hoax of the day. Y'all know I love these fake racism hoaxes because there is not enough real racism going around from white to black for them to actually find real stories. They have to manufacture them. If white on black racism was such a pandemic in this country, they wouldn't have to manufacture these stories. They would be around every corner, just jumping out to get you. Boogie woogie. But they're not. They're leaving nooses on their own desk at work. Politicians. I mean, Juicy Smollett would be proud of this one. This is MAGA country. We'll be right back on the Clay Edwards Show. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB, streaming worldwide, WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app and Alexa. Just search WYAB. Guys, if you missed any of the show and you don't want to go back and watch on video and all that, I take the audio only. I load it up to all your major podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, etc. We cut all the commercials out of it, cuts it down to about an hour and 40 minutes or so, hour and 30 minutes. Pretty easy listen if you enjoy the show. If you don't, it's probably an hour and a half of painful listening, but it's good listening. You need it. If you don't like this show, you definitely need to listen to this show because you're going to get information here that you're not going to get at any other place that speaks this kind of truth. You're being lied to if you don't like this information. You're getting propaganda from some of these other radio stations around here. So it needs to be appointment listening, some form, fashion, or another. Every day there's going to be a test. Anyway, just search Clay Edwards Show on all major podcasting platforms as well. Since we've been doing video, the podcasting numbers have been coming down some, but the video numbers are going up. Hey, look, man, we take our product to the people. I ain't trying to force you all to go to one particular place or not to consume it. Speaking of consuming things, get out to Acme Pizza and Daiquiris tonight. What is today, Tuesday? I don't think they're even open on Tuesdays, but get out to Acme Pizza and Daiquiris one day this week and enjoy some of the best pizza in all of Rankin County, made fresh from scratch every time you order it. They even smoke their own barbecue there on site that they use on the barbecue pizza. That's right, Boston Butts smoked on site daily right there at Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Tried the pig. That's my personal favorite, but they got 12 other specialty pizzas you can choose from, and, of course, you can always just build your own. Also, they got 9 different frozen daiquiris on tap. And did you know they're available for takeout and delivery? That's right. Where else does that? I don't even know how he does it, but he does it. That's Acme Pizza and Daiquiris, Fannin Mart on the res out there in the 047 area of Brandon. All right. Let's pivot just a second here. Guys, you know, like I just said, I love a good old hate hoax. We ought to get like a little intro for that. The hate hoax of the day award goes to another black lady who couldn't find real racism to happen to her, so she had to create her own. Oh, what an idiot. She looks like Jasmine Crockett. I'm going to tell you what, if this is the best that the Democrat Party has to send out there to battle us, 2028 is going to be fun. The next 4 years are going to be fun. I was listening to Charlie Kirk yesterday, and he was really driving it home about why young men just flat out ain't voting for women anymore. I mean, especially these liberal women that just try to tell everybody what to do. Look, if the Democrat Party wants to keep rolling out these militant black ladies that sit here and tell everybody else, white man bad, men bad, good luck with it. The only people voting for you are going to be other militant blacks and gays and progressive white women. And there ain't enough of y'all. There just ain't enough of you. Men ain't being about that life. Black men, white men, Mexican men, we ain't voting for you clowns. Stacey Abrams, Kamala Harris, Jasmine Crockett, this chick here. Anyway, this happened in Allentown, Pennsylvania. An employee named LaTarsha. How many vowels is in her first name? Oh, my God. A. She got 3 vowels. Man, this is almost 4 vowel type behavior. If she had a E-I-O-U in there, is there one hiding? No. She only got, so 3 vowels, and they're all the same, so that counts as like 4 vowels. LaTarsha Brown charged after placing a noose at her own desk to stage a hate crime. Juicy! Smollett would be proud. About 2 months ago, Brown reported finding a noose at her desk at City Hall. Police requested a DNA sample of the people who were working in the office, at the time of the incident. And look, not just Juicy Smollett, Bubba Wallace. Paging Bubba Wallace. Paging Bubba Wallace. Bubba would be proud too. Bubba still thinks it's real. It's still real to me, damn it. Anyway, police requested a DNA sample of all the people who were working in the office at the time of the incident. I would have refused. Hell no, I am not playing along with this show trial nonsense. You ain't getting my DNA. Anyhow, according to Captain Steve Milkovitz, every employee at the office agreed except for Brown. Yeah, the woman who claimed that somebody put the noose on her desk would not partake in the DNA. That's what we call a red flag. That's what we call a clue. The Pennsylvania State Forensic DNA Division later released a report revealing that the DNA on the noose matched, drum roll please, Brown's DNA. Brown worked for the city's Community and Economic Development Department. She faces misdemeanor charges, including making a false report and fabricating physical evidence. We've got about a 3-minute video here. I haven't watched it, but I do want to just hear the police chief tune this woman up. Guys, this is what we call a W. This is a win. You have to celebrate your wins. They've spent the last 4 to 8 years kicking us while we were down, calling us all racist, telling us to shut up, a black woman's talking. Shut up, bigot, a black woman's talking. Shut up, bigot, a gay black man's talking. Shut up, bigot, a progressive white woman's talking. Now, how about y'all shut up? All y'all. We're talking now. The men are back in the room. We talking now. We're going to make this country great again, whether y'all like it or not. We're dragging y'all along with us, or you can leave this SOB. Those are your two options. But either which one you choose, shutting up is mandatory. We're talking now. You ain't got no say-so in the matter. We've let y'all talk us to the verge of collapse the last 8 years with your BS. Grown folks is back in the damn room and have brought the paddle with us. Let's listen to this police chief tune her up a little bit.
The purpose of this press conference is to provide an update regarding the noose investigation. I want to take a moment to thank the following agencies who assisted in this case: the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office, the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Allentown Police Department conducted a thorough investigation, including interviews of persons, analysis of evidence, and consultation with the District Attorney's Office of Lehigh County. As a result of the subsequent investigation, LaTarsha Brown was charged with tampering with or fabricating physical evidence, a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree, and false reports to law enforcement, a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree. As in every criminal case, the fact that a warrant has been issued or a complaint has been filed is merely an accusation. The defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty in a court of law. I'm now going to ask Captain Milkovitz to provide a summation of this investigation.
Good afternoon, everybody. Captain Milkovitz, Criminal Investigations Division. On January 10, 2025, at approximately 7:11 a.m., Allentown City employee LaTarsha Brown arrived at her office on the 3rd floor of City Hall. At approximately 7:38 a.m., Ms. Brown notified the Allentown Police Department that she discovered what she believed to be a noose on her desk upon arriving at work. Officers assigned to the Community Outreach Unit, Crime Scene Identification Unit, and Criminal Investigations Unit responded, initiating a criminal investigation to identify the individual responsible for placing the noose on Ms. Brown's desk. During the investigation, video surveillance and building access control records were reviewed to identify city employees present on the 3rd floor of City Hall between the time Ms. Brown left for work on the afternoon of January 9, 2025, and her arrival on the morning of January 10th. Those employees were interviewed. Each was asked if they would provide a buccal swab for DNA testing if needed. Every employee agreed, except for Ms. Brown. Initially cooperative, Ms. Brown later requested that the investigation be discontinued. The noose was submitted to the Pennsylvania State Police Crime Lab for DNA testing on January 14, 2025. On January 24, 2025, a search warrant was approved by the Lehigh County District Attorney's Office for Ms. Brown's DNA, and a DNA sample was obtained that same day. On January 27, 2025, Ms. Brown's buccal swab was submitted to the Bethlehem Regional Crime Lab of the Pennsylvania State Police for comparison with DNA profiles recovered from the noose. On March 10, 2025, the Forensic DNA Division of the Pennsylvania State Police issued a written report indicating that Ms. Brown's DNA matched the DNA profile obtained from the swabs of both the outer surface and inner knotted portion of the noose after it was taken apart. No other person's DNA profiles found on the evidentiary items involved in this location.
Well. Hashtag good guys win again. Now that happened up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Didn't even happen down here in the South. What was so bad is, generally speaking, man, so many white and black folks, we really get along good down here. We understand the complexities of our past. But if you're Gen X or younger, you've grown up in a desegregated Mississippi. Now, we've all somewhat resegregated ourselves away from criminals. Don't nobody want to live around criminals or Democrats. I don't want to live around white or black Democrats. I have no interest in that. I don't want to live around Democrats. Y'all are bad people, generally speaking. I mean, I just don't want to. Y'all vote bad. Y'all do stupid stuff when it comes to voting, and I just don't want to be accustomed to that, a party of that. Anyway, we'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show, catching blue hair on fire since 2020. All right, guys, I'm going to stick it with y'all here during this break and the next one. Let's jump off in some of your comments here. So, good morning, Miss Sylvia. I see you there. She goes, jail time, maximum time. 2, mess like this causes too much dissension among people of all backgrounds. Yep. What I was saying there towards the end of the radio segment about, generally speaking, most black and white folks, we get along fine down here. I mean, there's some assholes in every group. There's some assholes in every group that none of us want to be around. But there's some asshole conservatives I don't want to be around. And you know what? I'm not around them. Simple solution. Stay as far away from them as I can. But I was thinking about it earlier. They always talk about white flight, and I've said this before. This ain't an original thought here. Y'all have heard me say this before if you've listened to the show more than twice. I don't believe it's white flight. It's urban flight. No, people with means enough to one way or another get away from Democrats, get the hell away from them. Like, do you think I want to live in Belhaven? I think Belhaven's beautiful. I think it's a gorgeous neighborhood. But I would rather live in South Jackson than I would Belhaven or Fondren. I get along better with black folks way more than I get along with your average white liberal. What the thing that upsets me with my black brothers and sisters is they just get roped into voting for these idiots because all they got to say is racism. We're going to blame all these problems on racism so we don't have to take any accountability. The problem with white liberals voting is they think they can make change. And they can. And it's never for the better of anybody. I can have a rational conversation with black folks about voting. and just, understand there's going to be some roadblocks there and you just got to work around them. The white liberal, the hardcore progressive white liberal, I'm not even talking about like Sean. Sean understands local politics. We disagree on national stuff. But when it comes to local politics and the way you manage a city, he understands that the National Democrat agenda doesn't work for that. Frankly, neither does the National Republican agenda per se, except the pro-crime, not pro-crime, but pro-law enforcement side of it. National and local politics ain't the same thing. Furthermore, local and statewide politics aren't the same thing. The Democrat managed cities around here are all failures. And it's not just because they're progressively low income. That's not, that ain't it. Their policies are pro-crime, anti-police, and free handouts to anybody that wants it. We're getting ready to come back from the break here. We're going to land the plane for hour one, and I'm going to stay with y'all through the 7-minute news break. I'm trying to have less dead space on these things, I promise. Bear with me 1 second. Breaking rules when necessary. Should we put that on a shirt? What should my next shirt, what saying should I put on my next shirt? The FAFO stuff isn't going anywhere. But what should be the next shirt? Also, if I did a shirt stop somewhere and sold shirts for $10 each, they're normally $30. If I picked one of these great sponsors and I went somewhere around lunchtime one day, would you guys come and show up and buy a shirt for $10? If I say I'm going to be here for 1 hour, this is a 1 hour special only. Would you guys show up and maybe eat lunch somewhere or hang out and come buy a shirt, just stop by, say, hey, buy a shirt, get a free sticker type thing? I just ain't reached that level yet where I can just give stuff away. One day we'll be there, baby. One day we'll be there and I can give away stuff like these rock stations and stuff do, but we just ain't there yet. Maybe a sponsor would pay for the shirts to give away. Maybe if maybe one of the car lots, if you come out and you do a test drive, you get a free shirt. Maybe we can put that together. But I can't give shirts away yet. I just ain't there yet. I got to get a push on it anyway. But we're gonna make that happen. We may make that happen one day this week. Maybe a FAFO Friday. We make that happen somewhere. I'll keep y'all posted. Let me call some of these great sponsors we got here on the Clay Edwards Show. I love going and doing the live remotes. All right, man, when we come back, we're going to wind it back, and we're going to talk about Chockway rolling Capitol Police under the bus. Don't go nowhere. All right, guys, y'all don't go anywhere. I got to use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. 25 St. Paddy's Day Parade shirt. I'm being dead serious about that. Kelly says she'll buy. I said, Kelly, is that a he or a she? I can't quite tell from the photo. I think it's a girl. The photos are really tiny on my platform, on this platform I use here, so I apologize. Let's see here. Bobster70 says, maybe it's more about she just doesn't like being black than it is hating white people. Oh, you're talking about the hate hoax girl? I don't know. But I love when we get to bust these folks up. When we expose their hate hoaxes because they couldn't create enough real hate. Well, it creates hate, but they couldn't find enough real racism that they had to go manufacture some. To me, that is just the greatest thing in the world because they all want to become these modern-day Rosa Parks, these civil rights icons. Oh, I was racism's upon. And you know what sucks is there going to be a group of black folks out there that will go to their grave. People like Brad Franklin, Kamikaze, they will go to their grave swearing that somebody white left a noose on that lady's desk. We're coming back from break. Boom goes the dynamite. It's hour two of the most incendiary show on the radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Conveniently enough, I am Clay Edwards, and I am live here on streaming a stunning 4K video, as well as on 103.9 FM WYAB, on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble at SaveJXN. This segment, as it begins to warm up outside, feeling oh so good, is brought to you by Pure Air Consultants. Guys, for over 40 years, Pure Air Consultants has been delivering exceptional cooling systems to Central Mississippi. They want to remind you that consistent, expert maintenance on your system improves your indoor air quality significantly. It will also help your system operations improve their efficiency by 20 to 40%, have an increased useful life, and have fewer failures. Be sure to check out the residential HVAC maintenance plan that Pure Air Consultants proudly offers. If you have any questions or would like to sign up, then contact them today at mypureairconsultants.com. That's mypureairconsultants.com. Ream, a new degree of comfort. Also, did you know that your dryer filter only captures between 40 to 60% of the lint generated? The rest gets pulled through the exhaust system and can get caught in your dryer vent. Check out their vent cleaning service. It can remove this excess lint and improve your machine's efficiency, not to mention your home safety. You know what? That is actually something I severely need to do. All my lint, my dryer vent duct just dumps right out into my garage, and it is a mess. I don't know if there's supposed to be a bag on the end of it or something that I'm missing, but I need to address that because it makes cleaning my garage hell. Anyway, I digress. Welcome back to the program. I want to cap something off. I've changed camera angles here to show you how thin I've gotten, courtesy of Men's Health in Mississippi and a little discipline. A little side profile, like a mugshot. But I want to circle back to our strong, independent black women who had to put a noose on her desk to manufacture some hate so she could become the next Rosa Parks. But actually, she just ended up becoming the next Juicy Smollett. I mean, at least Bubba Wallace didn't tie the noose himself, the knot himself on the garage door. I mean, I would give him that minute bit of a free pass. At least he did not tie the noose himself, but he should have 100% said, well, frankly, never said a word about it. That's what he should have done. But nope, he saw the opportunity to ride that BLM wave into a better position for himself. I mean, a true grifter, by definition, grifter. And we're going to tell you about some right-wing grifters too. You know, one thing I don't like is a right-wing grifter. And we got a big story. And it's really somebody I interviewed on this show before who I'm really disappointed in. Chad Prather got caught up in this too, knowingly. Knew what he was doing and got caught up in it. Anyway, we're going to talk about some grifters here. But yeah, anyway, this woman, it's just so enjoyable to know that she got caught. It truly is. And again, and these are the kind of people that folks don't want to live around. See, now as a white guy, why in the blue hell would I want to live around that black woman that is willing to put a noose on her desk to create racisms? If she'll do that at work, what would she do in her personal life? I mean, that's the kind of woman, honest to God, she would probably put a burning cross in her yard and say, look, Clay Edwards did it. You know, he says all that stuff on the internet, on that radio show. Obviously, he would do that. You know, man, look, my message to black folks, I just want y'all to quit killing each other. Is that too much to ask? Quit killing each other in public. I mean, seriously, does that make me the bad guy? You know, I just want to be able to go to a Jackson gas station again one day. Just one day. You know, they've quit selling Kratom in damn near all of Rankin County. About the only place you can go back and get it now is a Jackson gas station. And I just ain't going to be able to take Kratom no more because I ain't going to a Jackson gas station. But I'd love to be able to go get some good Chester fried. Get some Kratom. Maybe some barbecue. But no. Y'all got to see your ops and start blindly spraying with your clips. I mean, I just want locally owned businesses, these gas stations, to be able to survive, prosper even. And I want the other people, myself included, to be able to safely stop and do business with them without having to worry about getting caught up between you and your ops nonsense like what happened at the parade. Again, I mean, I just want peace and love in the black community. But somehow, y'all take that as a criticism, and it can be at times because it is a criticism. It's called tough love. You know, y'all come out and call me all these bad names, send me death threats. I mean, I just, why don't y'all get as mad at each other for doing this? And I'm not talking about like our great listeners like Miss Sylvia and Derek and Kim Wade and other folks like that. I'm talking about these dyed-in-the-wool Democrats. These black for a living wokesters. They call them hucksters, these wokesters. They just can't accept criticism from anybody that doesn't look like them. It's just automatic, it's racism. You're white, you're not allowed to acknowledge that there's any problems in the black community without also equally acknowledging that your community has problems too. My community don't have these problems. It just doesn't. I can't acknowledge something that doesn't exist. And before y'all start, there's crime everywhere. Yes. And Bubba Bramlett in his office and Brian Bailey, say what you want, say what you will about Brian Bailey and the police chiefs in these communities, nip it in the bud. Do y'all think for 1 second that if that parade shooting had happened anywhere else that we wouldn't already have the shooter arrested? Real talk. Do y'all think that the suspect would still be on the loose? It's a rhetorical question. Of course they wouldn't. They would have probably got their cap peeled back, and their mama would already having to be getting some shirts airbrushed with the little angel wings on the back of them. And again, I don't know why y'all put angel wings on the back of these little future rocket scientists and engineers, because the only way they flying into the heavens is if somehow they're an astronaut, which they've got a better chance of being that than they do of going to heaven. They're going to hell. So quit putting angel wings and start putting little devil tails on these rest in peace shirts or rest in heaven or rest in whatever the heck you want to call it. But they would have already had to get some shirts airbrushed. They'd be releasing some doves into the skies or some balloons, and some other people would have already gotten shot, because y'all know how these balloon releases go at these little future rocket scientists and engineers memorials. Then mama would have already started to GoFundMe. All that would have already happened if this had happened in Rankin or Madison County. But when it happens in Jacktown, didn't nobody see nothing. Didn't nobody see anything. What shooting? I thought it was the rapture, and I got left behind. That's how they act around here. I mean, do you really have trust? And let's just say they find the shooter. Do you really have faith in Jody Owens' office to prosecute this thing? No. Well, it's funny. It's funny, when that shooter was white a couple years ago, everybody saw everything. I mean, folks tripping on themselves to pull up camera footage and detail exactly who it was. To make sure that everybody knew, as they should have. As they should have. I just wonder, where's that energy when the shooter's black? I ain't seen nothing. What shooting? I thought it was the Rapture and I got left behind. The mayor comes out yesterday, and these are all facts. This is the stuff that makes them mad, y'all. This is the stuff that I point out that makes them mad. But this is where I say facts can't be racist. They're just facts. There's a double standard in the urban community when it comes to this kind of stuff. The mayor comes out yesterday and blames it all on Capitol Police and gives JPD all this credit. Does he understand that Capitol Police only exists because JPD was so bad under his watch that the state had to step in and create another law enforcement entity to do their job? That's undeniable. That's another fact, not an opinion. That's a fact. There was almost 175 homicides in 2021. Something had to be done. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to play some of the mayor's press conference video from yesterday, where he just blatantly rolled Capitol Police under the bus and blamed them for the murder. And I had somebody tell me yesterday, they got mad at me because I called it the St. Paddy's Day massacre. Clay, it wasn't a massacre. Only one person got killed. Yeah, well, 8 got shot. That's a massacre. If they had died, it'd be a massacre. So you know what? Attempted massacre, but it was a massacre. It was a damn bloodbath down there. And then they all go to UMMC and have a brawl in the ER. Y'all might not like me using big words like that, but that's what it was. It was a massacre. Quit shooting people in public, and I'll quit glorifying it. Can't y'all just get back to it being domestic? Just do it in the house. We go to your op's house, and why you got to do it at the parade? We'll be right back. Chokwe, Antar, Lumumba, hashtag vote or die. Vote for anybody but Chokwe or die. It's that serious, folks. Over 1,000 people have died under Chokwe's watch since he became mayor in July of 2017. Over 1,000 people, mostly, I would say 98, 99% of those black folks. So he has basically been at the helm of a genocide in the black community since becoming mayor in 2017. The city can't handle 4 more years of it. I mean, frankly, I don't know that anybody can fix it, but at least if you can be a stopgap, you got to plug the leak. The dam is broke. It just hasn't collapsed all the way yet. Well, debatable. But Chokwe is going to be like the Wile E. Coyote under the dam with some dynamite trying to flood it out to kill the coyote. To kill the roadrunner. That's a visual for you. That reminds me about when Farrakhan said that George Bush blew up the levees in New Orleans after Katrina. But it's anybody but Chokwe. I don't care. I've heard some other people say no John Horn. We're talking about the Democrat primary here. Y'all got to figure out who. If it's John Horn, everybody get behind John Horn. Whatever. I think he's got the most realistic chance. I like David Archie. Whatever. Pick somebody, get behind them. Don't split it up so much that Chokwe can get in a runoff. We need to eliminate Chokwe from the race in the Democrat primary, so Jackson has a fresh start. So he gets up there yesterday and has the audacity to take a shot at the Capitol Police. The audacity, I tell you. I gotta pull this up here. I don't know why it does this. We got this YouTube video here. For some reason, it was oh great! Now it's got to play a damn commercial. I've got a YouTube premium account, but for some reason my work YouTube is tied in with my other account. All right. Are you serious? Another commercial. Anyway, when these commercials stop, Chokwe blames Capitol Police for the massacre. The massacre, I tell you, at the St. Paddy's parade. And again, we can get lost in the semantics of was it at the parade or was it at an after party. The after parties only exist because of the parade, so therefore they're the same thing. And I've got some solutions about how you can prevent that don't include moving the parade. All right, let's play this. It's about 3 minutes worth of his gibberish.
Who served in our Department of Administration.
This is him giving condolences to somebody. Not to be disrespectful, but we're going to fast forward about 30 seconds or so.
For so many years with the city of Jackson, that people who worked beside her, alongside her for many years, consider her family. So there are people working within the city that are, addressing her loss and on a somber note. So we remember her great service and ask that the city of Jackson pray for her family. Along those same lines, we certainly want to submit our prayer petitions on behalf of the family of the young man who was killed in the St. Patrick's Day parade this weekend. In addition to those others who were victims of gunshot wounds. We understand how traumatizing gun violence is, not only to victims, but victims' families. And so that's why it's important that we...
I think it's time to have a serious conversation about banning guns from Democrats being able to own them. I think we got enough of a sample size that says Democrats they ain't built for guns. It's oil and water. Oil and water.
We continue to work in order to create public safety measures that make our communities safer. I want to commend the Jackson Police Department. While Capitol Police did and do have primary jurisdiction within the area in which the shooting took place, JPD, as they always do, were assisting in that process, even to the extent that JPD officers were providing rides as an ambulatory service of sorts to victims of gunshot wounds to the hospital.
Ambulance and ambulatory are two different things, by the way. Just throwing that out there. So what he did there is, for no reason, he wanted to make sure y'all knew that block was covered by Capitol Police, because that wouldn't have happened if JPD had been there. That's what he's telling you. He wanted to make sure that you understood that we didn't have this nowhere else. That happened there. That was Capitol Police's doings.
I do want to call forward Chief Wade to give further update. I do want to provide this clarification because some residents have asked me. They have inquired about the lack of ambulatory services or sufficient ambulatory services. I just want to be clear whether there was a sufficient amount or not. The city of Jackson does not run the ambulatory contract. That is with the county. So, I cannot speak in detail about that.
I want to say something on that matter. How many ambulatories we're supposed to be down there. Real talk. I mean, I guess in Jackson, you frankly should have to plan. I mean, I don't even know how many ambulatories there are on call at any given time. How many the AMR or whoever is responsible for it now? I should know that. I should know the company. I just can't. I mean, I know it ain't AMR. It's another company, isn't it? They're actually really good folks. Is it AMR? Anyway, doesn't matter. That's not their fault. What are they supposed to? One of them YBs is going to go to shooting a bunch of others, and we're probably going to need 8 ambulatories over there by 4th Avenue. Now, you know what? Now that I say that out loud, yeah, they probably should have known that if 4th Avenue was throwing any kind of block party or having any kind of post-parade event based on its recent history, that some extra ambulatories were probably going to be needed. Now, Chief Wade is coming up next year, and I heard Chip Matthews say something this morning on his early show. He'll be back after me from 9 to 10. Chip brought up something about Chief Wade, and it's something I've had in the back of my mind for a little bit too. Now, I've been very, very supportive. I've never said a negative word or questioned Chief Wade because some people I have a lot of respect have co-signed on Chief Wade. And I'm going to give a caveat here. I do believe his intentions are pure. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. But I think he is a propaganda tool for Chokwe. I believe he gets up there and says the things that makes Chokwe look like he is pro-cop and taking crime serious. Now, admittingly, I don't know all the inner workings and the day-to-day stuff and the changes going on at JPD. Maybe there's been significant internal changes that are making things better. I will be the first to say. But from the outside looking in, that don't appear to be the case. I think whoever the next mayor is should consider keeping Chief Wade and giving us an opportunity to see if he's as much go as he is show. That's just my opinion there. Let's listen to the chief.
But with that, I'll give you Chief Wade. Thank you, Chief.
Good afternoon. To echo the sentiments of the mayor, my prayers, thoughts, and condolences go out to the individuals injured and the young man who lost his life on Saturday night. The St. Paddy's Day Parade is a worthwhile event and occasion. They are raising money for the Mississippi Children's Hospital, or Children of Mississippi Hospital. But we continue to have lawless, reckless cowards who plague our community with gun violence. We had a primary mission with the St. Paddy's Day Parade events. That's to thwart and prevent terroristic activities, acts of domestic terrorism, and acts committed by hate groups. And want to make sure that nobody plowed down the parade route and took life. Jackson Police Department's involvement consisted of 84 police officers. 84 police officers were assigned to the St. Paddy's Day detail. We had a huge footprint. The units that worked the event was our SWAT team, our bomb unit, K-9 unit, detectives, traffic unit, mounted patrol, park rangers. We had drone support. We had SkyCop support, which means mobile cameras. We also had our real-time command center monitoring activities during the parade. We had our training staff assigned to the detail and our intelligence unit assigned to the detail and our whole entire command staff. I personally walked the entire parade route myself. It was a collaborative effort between the Capitol Police Department, the Hines County Sheriff's Office, Jackson Public School Law Enforcement, and I want to thank Jackson FBI for being situated in our command post as we talked about domestic terrorism acts.
This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop
seriously,
this, start eating more of these. You might think this would take years to learn.
While this commercial is going, skip that. Here we go.
Right. The goal was to prevent what happened in New Orleans.
All right, so we don't have to play all that. That's the chief talking about they were set up to try to prevent a terrorist attack, like cars running down the thing. I didn't go. I don't know how they had all that set up, but clearly there was a terrorist attack. One of the Jacktown Talibanians decided to commit an act of terror in the St. Paddy's Parade Massacre 2.0. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. I hate having to play that much video, but sometimes you got to do it because I want y'all to hear what I hear. I mean, the chief sounds like a propaganda tool. It just, I ain't liking what I'm seeing. So, the Delta Piper on YouTube asked a good question. He says, my question is, why are canopies and barbecue grills allowed on the sidewalks? It's a parade, not a tailgating event. And I'm so glad that he asked this question because this is exactly one of the things that me and Kingfish were having a conversation last night, and we both brought this up, and he asked me a serious question. Other than moving the parade, what do you do to make it safer? I mean, working within the confines of what you have to work with, the lack of morality, the lack of home training, the YBs. And they call them YNs. So don't get mad at me. Don't get mad. I mean, there's like a whole thing. Everything I saw online was blacks referring to the young blacks as YNs and blame all this on them. Now, y'all ain't rope-a-doping me into calling them YNs. I'm going to say YBs. But I'm just using y'all's language, so don't get mad at me. Frank, you know what? Get mad at me. I don't give a damn. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of having to tiptoe around words to try not to offend some people that I frankly don't give a damn if you're offended. I'm offended. We're all offended that we can't go to the damn St. Patrick's Day parade anymore without having to worry about getting our cats peeled back. Because y'all's badass little kids ain't got no home training. So, to answer the question, one of the things you can do to help prevent this, because none of this started happening until certain bars started opening up down on Capitol and down on Lamar, and they started partaking in these after parties and promoting it to their crowd. You know, you don't have this problem up there at the other bars. Up there at Martin's, up there at Hallamals. You know, I'm not sure about the one block east. They got a lot of problems in the evening times on Monday nights or whatever. Them or that other bar right there. I see nothing but fights from like Monday or Tuesday nights up there on other creators' pages. You know, I didn't see nothing from the parade, but anyway, you got to get the tents and the barbecue grills gone. You can have a designated area for that. It was always the parking lot across the street from Martin's where all that was. You don't need to have tailgate tents on the sidewalks. That needs to be for egress. I'm surprised the fire department allows that. It ain't safe. You don't need chairs. You go to a parade to stand your butt up. So go to the parade and stand up. Or don't go to the parade, or go inside Martin's, or go inside one of the block parties. The parade route does not need to have chairs, tents, or grills. If you want to sell vending space to people for them to sell food, fine. Do that. There's enough restaurants along the way. You really shouldn't have to do that. But hey, whatever. If you want to sell some vending space to food trucks and all that, have a designated area. Do that if you don't. Here's one of the things you do. This happened around 7 o'clock. Some people have been like, no alcohol. I don't agree with that. It's a parade. People can be able to drink. You don't punish the people don't punish the 90% of people who are responsible day drinkers. It's a small percentage who are causing all this ruckus. And frankly, I don't even know how many of them are drunk. Like this shooting, I don't think this was alcohol related. This was, in my opinion, a targeted hit that then blew up out of proportion. This kid was involved in a capital murder just a few months ago. If you don't think this had something to do with that, you're high as hell. What you do is, after 5 or 6 o'clock, when the parade's over, give everybody an hour or so to get dispersed and all that, and no alcohol on the streets. You enforce your damn open container law that you already have on the books in Jackson. If you are not inside a fenced area with a festival permit, like make 4th Avenue get a festival permit, an outdoor festival permit with a fenced-in area, with proper security, with a certain amount of liability insurance, special event insurance that you have to have. Make sure that the ABC comes out and gives them permission to have outdoor alcohol. That's right. You have to have permission from ABC to do that. Make sure all of those bars that are doing that, just like Martin's and Hallowell has to do it, make sure that if they're having an after party and everybody's not inside the building, that you start arresting people outside for open container, or they have to be inside a designated area with security, with permits, IDs checked, all of that. Force it to be 21 and up in the block parties. These are some simple things you can do. And if these promoters can't afford to do these things and to take these steps to have these events, don't have them. This day ain't for you. Y'all leeching off of stuff that other people put blood, sweat, tears, and beers into creating anyway. That's what they did up there at Martin's and Hallowell's. The rest of y'all are just leeching off of what they built. Either do it right or don't do it. This happened because there was no control on that corner at Lamar and Pearl. Was it Lamar and Pascagoula? Lamar and Pearl. You know, and Capitol Police can't be but so many places at one time. At some point, the people throwing these events and these after parties have to take some responsibility. Like, these people are out there partying in front of your spot because you're promoting an after party, because you're open. Now, can you control what happens? No, I get that you can't. I'm not saying that this is 100% their fault. They can't plan or prevent or control somebody walking up with a gun and doing stuff. But if you're promoting an event and you're catering to a crowd that you know is going to come out for what you're catering to, you know, you got some responsibility by default, I believe. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. So when I had my clubs downtown, like say, for example, there was one time somebody left my bar. They went up to Pearl Street. They went up Capitol to State Street. They got T-boned by a drunk driver. I think they were both drunk. Anyway, they tried to sue us. I mean, it just happens all the time. Bars get sued all the time. So I won't be shocked at all if they don't end up with some lawsuits. Sorry, I know I'm getting fired up. But that's one of the easiest ways you can do this is you force these venues to have special event permits, or they have to keep it inside. And if they come outside, like, you suspend the open container. Like, that's what they do. I mean, like, they suspend the open container rules during the parade. You crank them back up within an hour of the parade ending. Give people fair time to finish up their drinks, get settled in, figure out where they're going. You want it to still be a good time, but you got to suspend the public container. I mean, unsuspend open container law and start enforcing it after a certain time. And, I don't know. I don't know how many people do you arrest, but you can start writing some tickets. You'll make it stop pretty quick. Yeah, Bobster, great point. You can't drink on the midway at the fair. Same thing. That's a great dang point. I don't have a problem with them drinking during the parades. We want people to be able to have fun. It's too big of an area, but I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want to tell people not to bring coolers, but because you can't punish the overwhelming majority of good behaving folks over a few idiots. Look, fights have been happening at the parade as long as there's been a parade. That's what I've been telling white folks, this ain't a race thing. Well, it's a culture thing in Jackson, but so I guess it's got something to do with race. But generally speaking, like the fights and all that, man, we've been fighting down at that parade. Us old South Jackson white trash were down there fighting all in the 90s. So I don't want to hear anybody pretending that the fights are new. That just is what it is. But you know what? There were never any shootings. That's all new. And that just is what it is. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. Let's go straight to the phone here. Hey, caller, you got about 30 seconds before we go off there. What you got?
Hey, Clay, enjoy your show.
Thank you.
You talking about Choke a while ago. Have you ever done looked at the backstory of his daddy?
Oh, yeah. Well, very familiar with it.
And how they come in here to Mississippi and they destroy what they got. I think the son has finished what daddy started.
I couldn't agree more.
Destroyed Jackson. And Jackson is just a hellhole.
Yep, they brought it didn't work in Michigan and Detroit. They brought it down here because they said, where's some suckers that'll believe all this stuff? And they threw a dart, it landed on Jackson, and they came right back from the Underground Railroad back down here and roped in a bunch of suckers. Hey, brother, appreciate it, man.
Billy Thompson's part of it, too.
100%. Oh, he was in that house that night, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
All right,
brother. Take care. See y'all tomorrow.